I gotta wear these. Oh my gosh, we're live again. Feels like it's been a long time. I don't know why, but I just want to first off start off by saying I hope everyone had a great new year. Happy 2025. New year, same us. We are still going to do the live video all year. Hopefully we don't cancel as many as we did this holiday season, but we were very busy. We were very active, skiing through the trees. We were sick. We were traveling. There was all kinds of stuff happening during the holidays. So I'm just glad to be back and kind of settling in, preparing for the rest of 2025. And, for me personally, my goals for 2025 is to keep teaching you guys stuff. Don't run out of ideas. Keep coming up with some cool things. I was actually talking to Tyler, and I was going to ask you guys if you would be interested in this, but as a lot of you know, I'm a golf enthusiast, and there's this guy for Barstool Sports who does a hole-in-one challenge. He essentially goes and he tries to hit a hole-in-one. They stay live for the whole time until he does it, and I think the first time it took him 8 hours. The second time he didn't get it, still took him 10 hours. But I was thinking this like a really long extended live stream, but I was wondering if you guys would be interested in me doing a live stream that just doesn't stop from the beginning of detailing a car to when it's finished. Now, I think sometimes it takes a couple days, so maybe we do a two-parter, but this could potentially be a 4-6 hour stream of just going through the whole process. Probably would get boring after a while, but maybe it's on in the background. It might be kind of cool. But let me know if that sounds cool to you guys, because that's something I was thinking about doing. And I know a lot of times like our videos, especially like our how-to videos online, are just like you see me polishing for 3 shots, but really like to do the whole car, it takes a lot longer. So if you wanted to see like an extended cut, not even a cut, but just an extended video of the process, comment, throw a like in there, whatever.
Chester and Paul said yes. Rodney says yes, but golfing sounds good too.
I could do that too. I could go live stream at the golf course if you guys want.
And Dan wants to know if we're going to be in Scottsdale later this month.
Oh, be in Scottsdale for Bear Jackson later this month? Maybe. I'm still trying to figure it out. We actually have a big thing coming up in March, which is Adams Polishes is turning 25. It's our 25th year anniversary. So I got to narrow it down Adam somehow to talk to him about that. And we've got a lot of content ideas, but I do really want to talk to him. And he started Adams Polishes from scratch, essentially, just by like a way of means, and grew it to where it is today just by sheer resilience, but also like Adam's passion has been passed on to me, to other people. And I'd love to talk to him, see if he had like business advice for detailers, for small business owners, things like that. But got a lot of stuff coming up. I'm pretty excited. This year's going to be big. I think the detailing industry is like in a weird place. Like innovation is it's stalled. Everyone's trying to find for the next new big thing, and we're no different. We're trying to find new innovative ways to present you guys products, better ways to do the detailing process. So, but anyways.
Perez says, how do you get wiper blade marks off of a windshield?
How do you get wiper blade marks off of a windshield? I imagine, I think when I think about that, it's kind of like, I don't know. When I think about it, it's almost like scratches from when there's dirt trapped where your windshield wiper blades are. And that's like pretty deep scratches. So you could try like our glass polish. It will probably just make it more clear, but you'll probably still see the marks. It gets to a certain point where you need to replace your windshield. Like I'm kind of in that place with my car and my wife's car. The pitting that happens just from driving on the road, it's kind of every 2-year thing for me. I replace the windshield just to get it back to looking great. So unfortunately, you could try the glass polish, but probably replacing your windshield, you're kind of at that point. If it's, I don't want to say damage because that's like normal wear and tear on a windshield, but it gets to a certain point where if it's bothering you so much while you're driving, that's different. That's when you really need to replace it. But yeah, I don't know. That would kind of be my only thing. Glass is a tough thing to polish. It's like when you're polishing, machine polishing or paint correcting, like you're removing layers of paint to get to the bottom of scratches. Glass is such a hard substrate that it's hard to really like do that. So
Paul says they're not deep.
they're not deep. I would try glass polish then. Maybe that might help. Try that. If anything, the next step up, I would almost say like a machine polisher with a blue foam pad and heavy cutting compound might work, but you don't want to get like your glass if you're polishing it, machine polishing it, and it gets too hot. I mean, the tempered glass can shatter, and I've never seen it I've seen it happen on videos. It's never happened to me, but it's something you have to be really careful about. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, so today, the topic, we have this Budnick wheel that's been sitting here for many, many years, and it's starting to look kind of dull. It has kind of this matte finish here, and then it has a polished lip. And I came down to make sure that we could do this, but this front lip actually still looks pretty good. I'm pretty sure that they take care of this pretty well. Like they polish it quite a bit. But actually the barrel of the wheel, if I flip this around, this is looking very, very dull. And so what I did is I went and did a spot already, and hopefully Chris can show you it, but there's kind of a 50-50 line here. I can really clear this up. The cloudiness of and just FYI, like this is not clear coated or powder coated, anything like that. This is just raw metal right here. And pretty much anytime raw metal is exposed to the elements, it oxidizes, and over time it turns cloudy, kind of like this inside lip. Now, I'm not telling you to pull your wheels off and polish the barrel of your wheel, but this is the best example I have for when it comes to machine or metal polishing raw metal. Like I think this is probably aluminum or billet aluminum, whatever. And I just want to show you guys kind of the process I like to use for metal polishing. And I'm just going to say this. Our metal polish formula has been around since I started here and beyond. So at least since 2012, probably before that. Now I will say when Adams polishes earlier on, from I'd say 2014 previous years, a lot of the big focus was show cars, like classic cars, which have a ton of chrome. They have a ton of raw metal on them. And so metal polish was like a product that was purchased frequently from us. And it is a totally underrated product. The results you get from this is amazing. Now, with more modern cars, you don't really have as much of that raw metal. It probably more comes in the form of wheels. So I know this is a kind of more niche type of topic and product, but it's kind of my best option when it came to what our weather challenges are today. 2 days ago it snowed. How much do you think it snowed, Chris? 4 inches?
Similar.
Call it 4 inches. And yesterday it was, I think when I left my house, yesterday it was 12 degrees. This morning it was 9 degrees. It's supposed to get up to 40, but like it's just a wet, sloppy mess out there because there's snow everywhere and ice, and now it's starting to melt and it's just getting everywhere. So like I thought about doing winter washing today, but today is like the least ideal day to winter wash, because if you went and washed your car immediately when you drove it, the sloppy mess and snow everywhere would then get your car dirty again. So I usually wait, even if there's snow, on the grass, the bushes, stuff like that, but the roads are dry, that's when I do a winter washing. So today, outside, not a good idea. So inside, in
Anton
our
says
detail
88
base,
and sunny here.
what's that?
Anton says 88 and sunny
Hey,
here.
Anton, good for you, man. Of course it's 88 and sunny there. By the way, Anton, I have to say this. Anton messaged me on the Messenger app, Facebook Messenger app, and I read it. I was getting ready to respond. I got busy with the holidays. I didn't respond. It wasn't because I didn't read or appreciate your message. It got really hectic for me. So I just want to say Happy New Year to you as well, Anton, and hope you had a great holiday, and I'm looking forward to 2025 and hanging out with you every Wednesday. So I appreciate the message. I mean, I think for me, we work really hard at Adams Polishes. We do all kinds of different things. I've been working on label designs. I've been working on box designs. I've been working on apparel designs, video. We did a collaboration with Chevrolet Performance. So I just do so many different things. I think oftentimes, when you're in the mix, it's just like, go full steam ahead, go, 100 miles an hour. And to get a message like that, I'm very appreciative because, it shows that you guys actually care that we do the Wednesday Live and things like that. So I very much appreciate that. So
Chester has a question.
Yeah.
He says, I'm going to buy new wheels, and I was thinking about putting the advanced coating in the 60 mil bottle on them before the tires are installed. Do you know if the weights for balancing them will stick?
That's a good question. Who said that again?
Chester.
So Chester, get the wheels mounted first. Okay, the wheel weights won't stick to the barrel of the wheel if you ceramic coat them first. So make sure that once you get your wheels, get the tires mounted, and then before they go, and generally, I mean, Adam, I'll tell you this. I've watched him do this before. He took his wheels and the tires he's getting to the tire shop. He had them mounted. He took them out on the side of the building and he ceramic coated them on the spot. He left them with them. He said, wait 4 hours or wait till tomorrow and then put them on my car. Because he didn't have the tools to be able to do that. We do sell that now with like a jack and everything, but definitely wait until your wheels are mounted before you ceramic coat them. And one thing I would say is it's better too because once the weights are on there, you can ceramic coat over those as well. So yeah, don't make the mistake of ceramic coating them first. That's a good question. If you end up ceramic coating them first, you have to sand they have to sand a little mark where they're going to put the weights, which can damage your wheel. So get them mounted first. Ready?
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to show you this really quick. You can kind of see it on this applicator, but when you do metal polishing, what's going to happen is the solution inside of this metal polish, which our system is a two-step system, metal polish 1 and metal polish 2. It's a very creative name and very hard to understand. But no, we're very simple here. So it's a two-step system, metal polish 1 and metal polish 2. Now, think of this as like compound and polish. The metal polish 1 is to really cut through like the haziness that you see on this wheel, and then metal polish 2 is to finish it to a really, really nice shine. Now, if you have a metal substrate or a metal substance that isn't brushed, like this is brushed aluminum, so you can see like the actual brush marks of the finish to them. If you have something that is just straight, like I would say diamond plate is a really great example. Diamond plate, when you use this metal polishing system, it looks chrome, like it looks perfect. And that's because of the two-step system. Now, the way it works is the liquid in here, which is somewhat of the vehicle agent, is the part that kind of oxidizes, it softens the metal, oxidizes it, and then it has an abrasive in there. The abrasive is the thing that cuts through all the stuff. So it's kind of doing double the work at the same time. So the one way, if you're trying to figure out, do I have, like, are these wheels clear coated or are they raw metal? The way you find out is when you start polishing, black starts to come up either in your towel or in your applicator. And if it turns black like this, then you know it's raw metal. Okay, if I used metal polish and I was scrubbing like this and I lifted it up and this was white from the metal polish on here, there's no black at all, then I would know that they're clear coated or there's something on here that is a barrier between whatever the substrate is and whatever I'm polishing. So if
In
it
that
turned,
case, stop.
I mean, you can still go, it's just not going to do as much. In the case that they're clear coated, then you would move over to compound and polish instead of metal polish 1 and metal polish 2, if that makes any sense. So still a two-step system, but you're now polishing paint instead of metal. So when we get into this process, make sure you wear gloves. The black that comes off of when you're metal polishing it's extremely dirty. It will get all over your clothes. It will get all over your hands. And it just doesn't, it's a very messy process. Okay, so, and today I'm going to be showcasing the hand version of this, which I personally prefer the hand application polishing of metal polishing. Now, if you're doing a really big surface, that's different. But on a wheel like this, I prefer hand polishing. Now, the reason why is when you do the machine polishing, this is a very thin formula. So sling happens a lot when you're doing it machine style. And when it slings a lot, it gets all over the wheel, it gets all over you. It's just a much more dirty process, and I don't like that. Like I don't want to have to buy new clothes because I decided to metal polish something with a machine. So I prefer the hand method when it comes to this. So so I'm going to start more on a fresh side over here. This is the part I did on this section right here. So I'm going to move this to a more fresh side, kind of like in here. Yeah, I will. Now, when I look on here, there's a ton of fingerprints. The oils of your hands will like stain this, and it's cloudy. Okay, it's like light gray instead of more of a rich color that I'm really going for. And conveniently, I have this wheel on our rolling wheel stand. When you have a tire mount to this, it works a lot better. Just the wheels by themselves, it doesn't fit how it's supposed to. But the rolling wheel stand has 3 touch points that have rollers. And what it allows me to do is roll the wheel as I work on them. So I've done this before of ceramic coating wheels. Because this is metal and stainless steel, it won't rust. So I'll actually like put this on mainly the pro detailing cart, which is our metal cart with like the slots in it. I'll take it out and I'll actually wash. If I pull wheels off to clean them and ceramic coat them, I'll put them on the rolling wheel stand on the cart and I'll actually wash them outside. And then I can take an air cannon, whether it's the mini air cannon, which is the handheld air cannon, and I can blow all the water off the wheel, the stand, and the cart all in one. But the rolling wheel stand is amazing. And I know like we have some professional detailing shops that actually have like a series of these. Most of them will have like 4, so they can use quick jacks to take all 4 wheels off. They'll put them all up on the wheel stands and they'll ceramic coat them on their workbenches. So really, really cool tool. It's something that, you know, if you're doing any sort of work, cleaning, ceramic coating, polishing, the rolling wheel stand is an ideal tool. But listen, I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just trying to make my life easy. So, so when you get into the metal polishing process, metal polish 1, first step. So first thing, you want to shake this. You want to incorporate. You'll actually notice, you can actually see it on the shelf here, but they start to separate, if you can see that. So then when you shake it up, it looks more kind of white, light blue or white.
And the separating doesn't mean it's like gone bad or anything.
No, definitely not. It's kind of like Brilliant Glaze. You know, Brilliant Glaze separates as well, like you can see it in here. You know, so if I shake, when you use Brilliant Glaze, you shake it up and then it's ready to go. So you just want to get all the contents mixed together before you start. So shake this just for a few minutes.
AB has a question.
Yeah.
During a live video last year on winter washing, Joe busted out a pair of neoprene gloves. Do you have the brand of those?
Yeah, so That's a good question, Amy. Amy essentially asked last year for winter washing. When I was doing it, I broke out some neoprene gloves, and she's asking, "Do I have the brand?" I don't. There is one brand that I actually prefer, O'Neill. It's a surfing. It's like a surfing company. They're originated in Santa Cruz, California, which I love that city. It's one of my favorite places to go. But O'Neill is a great. That's my favorite. They're more expensive. I want to say they're kind of in the $80 range. The reason why I like those is the grip pattern on the palm of your hand works better than any other grip of those gloves that I've gotten. I've also gotten gloves off of Amazon for a lot cheaper, like $20. They say they have a grip on the palm, but it's like hard, and especially in the cold, it gets even harder. So your hands still slip, like when you're using wheel cleaning tools, things like that. So either one is pretty good, but the one thing I will say about those, like my winter washing gloves, we don't sell. Listen, I've been trying to get us to sell those forever, probably the last 5 years, and whoever makes the decision just doesn't think that they're going to sell. That's fine. I think not a lot of people wash in the winter is probably the main reason, but the reason why I used them was because I was trying to come up with an idea of how can I keep my hands warm while I'm washing during the winter. Now, obviously when you go to the paint spray, they have boilers, so the water is warm, but it's more of the ambient temperature and the wind that really, your hands get wet. When they're in the water, they're warm, you pull them out, they're freezing. And so I was like, could I get something that essentially cuts off water getting like exposed to my hands? It just isn't realistic. There's not really, you're moving your hands so much that it creates pockets where water can get in. I've thought about using gloves like this with gloves over it. It just, nothing ever worked. And I said, you know what? My dad was really into scuba diving. He used to dive for abalone on the West Coast in California. And I used to go rock picking with him for abalone, where you're kind of waist to chest high and you're reaching under rocks, prying off abalone. 8-inch abalone was like the regulation. And we used to wear these like wetsuit gloves. Now, if you just search wetsuit gloves, you're gonna get wetsuit gloves with no grip on the hand, just be neoprene all around. I then was like, okay, well, wetsuits, surfers use that, and they have gloves that grip their surfboard. So O'Neill was the first one that came up, and I purchased those, and I use them every time I winter wash now. Protects my hands from the wind, but the way that wetsuit material works is that water gets exposed. Like I went surfing once where I grew up, and I was wearing a wetsuit, and the way you do it is you have your wetsuit on, you get in the water, and you actually pull out so water gets into your wetsuit, and it creates like, it's like your body, then water, then the wetsuit, and it heats up the water, and it keeps you warm. That's how wetsuits work. So I was like, oh, that kind of works for your hands. I'll get water in there as I dunk my hand into wash or clean wheels, and it's gonna create this barrier to where it's gonna protect from the wind and the ambient air, but it's gonna keep my hands warm. And actually, to the point where sometimes when I'm doing it, I have to take the gloves off because my hands are so hot. And so those surfing wetsuit gloves are by far like the best option when it comes to gloves for winter washing. So
Amy says, I live in Washington State and I have a mobile detailing business. I'm getting ready to do a 45-foot coach and I need to keep my hands warm.
oh geez, yeah.
And she said O'Neill is a snowboard brand. Maybe potentially also, are the O'Neills, do you know if they're 5 millimeters or 3 millimeters thick?
To be honest with you, they have different options for how thick the gloves are. I'd say the more thin version are better, like the 3-inch thickness. But let's see, I'll just look it up really quick.
Probably not 3 inch, probably 3 millimeters.
O'Neill wetsuit gloves. They look exactly like, these are the ones that are sitting on my desk right now. Actually, they're on sale. You can get them on Amazon, $64.30. Oh, these are the 5 millimeter. I would get the 3 millimeter. I actually have both, and the 3 millimeter I think are better. So they kind of look like that. So you can see like the grip pattern, just it works so much better than any other ones I got. And I will say this, Amy, They run a little small, so I would almost like size up a half size or a full size to make it enjoyable. So yeah, that's one of my secrets, man. That's like, gosh, it makes it way more enjoyable for sure. Or else, you know, I'm like spraying with one hand with the pressure washer with my hand in my pocket trying to get it warm, and then I have to like switch because I just can't keep my hands warm.
Yeah, we have many an outtake of you in the middle of a video saying, God, I can't feel my fingers.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so metal polish 1. Now we're going to get into this. Don't need like a ton. Less is more with this product. And you can see it's like pretty, it's very liquidy, which is fine.
Not very viscous.
No. I'm going to switch you sides, Chris, because I'm right-handed.
How dare you?
So the thing about metal polishing is it's not how hard you push, it's about how many times you go over it. So I'm going to give a little bit of pressure, but the magic number is 20. So I think Adam used to say like 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of doing that, because I always lose count because I'm going fast, I just count 30 seconds in my head while I do this. So it's like this. So start, I go 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3 alligator, 4 alligator, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 1,000, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
I'm watching on the actual clock and you're actually pretty close.
30. Okay? So it's kind of like that. You can see.
You were only 1 second
I was
off.
1 second off. There we go. So you can see like my applicator turned jet black, and you can see like the black residue on the surface as well. And actually what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do one more round of metal polish 1 on this. I'll do this little section so you can kind of see a little bit of a enhancement. Because I want you guys to see like the effect we get on this. So I'm going to take this again, count it.
Katrina says, I can't detail in the winter, although it's North Georgia, our humidity and wind makes 38 feel like 23. Hands are so numb they hurt. Y'all are brave souls.
Okay, you know what, Katrina? I totally get it, because we were just in Detroit in Michigan.
Oh my God, was that cold?
God, it was awful. It was so cold. I mean, I don't know, maybe we're just lucky in Colorado, but like,
We're
it's
used to
same.
0% humidity.
Yeah, it was the same thing. It was like it snowed 6 inches, but 30 felt like 10 here. It's just like you can't escape it. I'll do a little bit more on that top lip.
Ken Wilson has a bad weather suggestion for a B&B tour.
Oh yeah, I know. I've been wanting to do that. I ask him every week. I'm like, sorry, we're busy. I'm like, doing what?
Making all our chemicals.
Yep, they work real hard over there.
Always blending something.
They are called B&B blending.
Dan says real feel is 8 degrees Fahrenheit in Pennsylvania right now.
Oh God, man. Good thing Dan works from his couch. So what I'm kind of looking for is, Chris could actually show you from this side, but like we have the hex lights above, and you can almost start to see, like if Chris moves the camera side to side, the lights are starting to become more visible. Okay, so like that to me is telling me that the clarity is starting to expose itself. And so that's the reason why I just did this a couple more times, is I want to start to get to see this clarity of the lights in here, and then I'll follow it up with metal polish 2, and it will just look even that much better. But the clarity and the color richness is starting to reveal itself.
Will the applicator be overloaded by that black oxidation residue?
Yeah,
Do you need to flip it?
kind of, yeah. Someone asked, like, will the
That was
Well,
actually just me.
oh, Chris kind of asked, but will this get overloaded? Um, kind of, yeah. I mean, I think once it starts getting to the point where it's like really messy everywhere, just switch to a new applicator. But I mean, since I have gloves on, like I'm not scared to flip this over and use the other side. But I'm actually saving this side for something else that's a little bit of a tip from me.
Someone asked earlier, and I spaced it. Honestly, what pad would you use if you were using this on a polisher?
Oh, that's a good question. What pad would I use if I was using this on a polisher? I personally like to use the blue foam pad. Even the white foam pad works pretty good, but you know what? Actually, I would probably recommend the white foam pad. It conforms to the areas better, and also it's a closed cell foam, so it keeps the polish to the surface of the face of the pad versus the blue foam pad is an open cell foam, so it like absorbs a lot of the, especially like a more liquid type of polish like this,
really thin chemical.
and that blue pad can get overloaded pretty easy, whereas a white pad tends to keep it at the surface and continues to work. So, so yeah.
Joseph wants to know, should I buy the compact pressure washer to start out detailing because it's way cheaper?
Oh, that's a pretty good question. That Joseph
Good
asked.
starter polisher.
Should
Or,
I?
Sorry, pressure washer.
Yeah. Joseph said, should I get the compact pressure washer as like my first pressure washer to start out with, because it's the cheapest of the options. I think, Joseph, like there's something to consider to that, right? Like, I think when it comes to stuff like that, my answer is yes, but you know, there's a whole separate conversation to that, which is, you know, it's kind of like machine polishing. Like the 9mm is a lot cheaper, but like it's not as enjoyable as using something else. The specs of the compact pressure washer are great, but like when you bump up to the pressure washer 3.0, they're even that much better, and the longevity you get from that is more. So more my question for you, I'll answer your question with a question, is how much are you washing? If you wash, you know, every 3 weeks, every 2 weeks, then, you know, I'd recommend getting the pressure washer 3.0. Even though it's a little bit more expensive, it's like it's gonna cost you less money in the long run versus like right up front. But the compact pressure washer, you know, I think that unit specifically, for what it is, it's so small, like you could put it in a cabinet, you could take it with you on a road trip. The fact that it's so small and compact is like, it makes it very versatile. So, you know, my answer is yes, get the compact pressure washer, but I also think like you need to consider like other aspects to it of like, you know, do you care about GPM and pressure? Do you care about longevity? How many times you can use it? And that's where I would say like, just, you know, look at the different specs that they offer and really what you're going for. But like, just to get away with washing cars with like a good bare minimum pressure washer, the compact one is amazing. So I actually really, when we did the product launch video for that, I was like pretty skeptical. Like I wasn't a part of developing that, and I was like, this thing, like, I don't know. I just, it didn't, looks can be deceiving. I'll just say that. When we started using it, and I was like, dang, this is like legit. Like, love this thing. Now, I think because I have so much experience here and I kind of have everything at my disposal, I have the Pro Pressure Washer 2.0, the Oppenheimer is what we call it, because it like looks like a bomb kind of. But I'm more like keen on like the specs of it. Like I want as much GPM and pressure that I can get, like a good mixture of both. So like I said, since I work here, it's more achievable for me to get that price wise because I get a discount. But you know, if I was trying to keep my costs low up front, the compact is a great option. And I think just that kind of brings up a good point. Like, it might seem overwhelming of all the different pressure washers we offer. There's a reason for that. And each pressure washer is going to suit a different person. Like for Joseph, the compact might be perfect because he can put it away, he can take it with him, do all these different things. But for the person who needs like the most pressure, the most GPM, then we have that option. So we're not like saying like you need this one or that one. It's very much a personal decision. So you know, and I think too, like Joseph, for you, wait for a sale, get it at 15% off, get it at 20% off, and it makes it even that less of a cost decision. So
Katrina thinks it looks more like the Pro looks more like a jackhammer than
I like that. Yeah, I like that, Katrina. Jack.
slightly less violent.
Imagine if we
analogy.
called it that.
Called it the jackhammer.
The new jackhammer. Like, that'd be awful. I just couldn't.
Polish's turbo jackhammer.
But wait, for 3 installments of $33.33 over the span of 12 months. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so one thing I just want to show you, I'm going to go back into the metal polishing, but if you noticed, I just took metal polish 2 and I went straight over the top of the metal polish 1 and I didn't even wipe it off. So very similar to our compound and polish. Like when you start compounding, you don't have to wipe compound off. You can go polish right over the top because the diminishing abrasive keeps breaking down. So I definitely at certain places will wipe off compound to check my progress and make sure I got all of the damage I'm trying to get out. But if there's areas I know aren't as deep of scratches, more just swirl marks, I won't even wipe off compound. I'll go straight over the top with polish. Obviously I'm switching my pad, but like in this case, very similar, just metal polish 2 into the applicator and didn't even wipe it off. So same thing. There's the only variable we're changing is the metal polish we're using, which is number 2, and that's it. Everything else is the same. 30 seconds, and here we go.
While you're doing that, I can keep track of the seconds for you. David Boyce says, Joe, I like your new glasses. It's a good Denver Bronx playoff look.
Hey man, I'm trying to, well, thanks for the compliment on the glasses. I'm trying to enhance my hipster vibe, you know? I got to conform somehow. But no,
plus you like being able to see.
Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing you guys don't understand. I had to get these glasses because I'm old now. I turned 40. I turned 40 last year, and it was like within 2 weeks, I was having these like dizzy spells to the point where I couldn't even drive home. I had to wait an hour to drive home, and I went to the eye doctor. Like, yeah, well, your muscles don't really work like they used to when you were. I'm like, kid, just stop there. Just tell me what. Just tell me what I need. You know.
Mark K says, PSA metal polish 1 and 2 can stain blacktop driveways.
Yes, they can. I mean, this black stuff is just metal filament, essentially.
Yeah, it's
right. So
tiny particles of metal.
Yep. So yeah, you have to be careful, and that's why I think like if you're gonna polish on your driveway, like are you doing wheels, like maybe don't work at the bottom portion of the lip, like work on the side. But again, I think cardboard, yeah, like if you get the Adams Polishes boxes your products get shipped in, you can flatten them out and slide them under your wheel, do whatever. But again, I think it goes back to the point of me talking about liking to do this by hand and not by machine, because I'm not going to sling product everywhere. So that's just kind of my thing. Okay. I think I'm well past 30 seconds.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to take a borderless gray towel. I like a plush towel to wipe this off better because all of the microfibers, no pun intended, grab onto it better and like pull it off. And then I'll show you another tip here in a second, but just take this. Oh my gosh, Chris. That makes me so happy. Making things look better, you know, it's just kind of who we are.
That's a crazy difference.
Yep. Okay. So, again, I think like that to me is like great. Again, this is brushed aluminum. So getting it to like a perfect mirror is impossible because of the makeup of the wheels. But the like metal like color enrichment is just exponentially better. The light is reflecting off of it more of like what I want it to look like. It's kind of interesting when I stand over here, you can almost see this weird like
can see the hexagon.
Yeah, exactly.
Hexagonal lighting.
Yep.
In the background.
And just so for a reference, I'll just move this. You can see the that's what it was to now kind of like where we're at. And when I say clarity, it's like the distinctiveness of the reflection. And again, with brushed aluminum, like you can only get so far. But you know, I think for me, like going through this process, making sure this looks uniform is very important to me. Now, what I would do, I'm not going to do it right now because I need to finish the whole wheel, is I 1,000% would ceramic coat over these. It's going to create this barrier that will significantly slow down the oxidation process, but make cleaning these wheels exponentially easier. So if you have something like this, like a brushed aluminum or billet aluminum metal wheel, and you go through and you're going to polish them, and then before you put them back on your car, ceramic coat them, because I'm telling you, I'll just say this. If there's one thing I would ceramic coat of everything on the whole car, it would be the wheels. I could get away with using H2O Garden Gloss as a standalone product on my paint. I could get away with doing the rinse aid to protect my paint and do that more consistently, but cleaning wheels that are so intricate and hard to clean, having them ceramic coated is incredible. So
And they get the dirtiest.
and yeah, they're the thing that touches the ground. I mean, obviously the tires, but like they're the closest thing to the ground. So they get the most dirty, and you know, they also get the most dirty because there's dirt and grime, but also all the brake dust that's coming off of your calipers and your brake pads just destroy not destroy them, but make them look more dirty than anything else on your car. So having ceramic coated wheels is very, very important.
Chester wants to know if the 60 mil advanced coating will work on exhaust tips.
60 mil advanced coating on exhaust tips is ridiculously good. Yeah, it doesn't repel like the kind of exhaust char that gets on there, but it makes cleaning it way easier. You know, so here's my PSA for the day, right? Ceramic coat everything. I mean, I ceramic coat my golf clubs, my stovetop, my glass, shower, like I ceramic coat everything because, yeah, your dog. No, I'm just kidding. But it really does. When it comes to cleaning, I think sometimes with cleaning, it feels like a chore. You know, I think for a lot of people, it feels like a chore. That's why they take it through the car wash. For a lot of people, it's enjoyable, but still, there's time element, and anything that's ceramic coating is going to make cleaning easier and more efficient. So, and it's more enjoyable because, I mean, all of you guys know this. You spray down a car that's been ceramic coated, and you see the water beads happen and the water fall off. It's like a phenomenon. You're like, what? I can't believe it's still doing that. You know, after 3 years, it's like incredible. You know, so I'm not trying to. I probably come off like I'm trying to sell ceramic coating. I'm such a believer in it. Even though I work for a company that sells it. If I did not work here and I was into cleaning my cars, ceramic coating, I absolutely would do it. You know, so yeah. Any questions on metal polishing? I'm gonna grab another product. If you guys have questions, just filter them in. But I do want to show you. I'm just gonna check back here for a second to see if they have any of the secret sauce. Say that again?
Ken Wilson wants to know what coating you would use for a
Countertop? I don't know. I mean, I'd probably do the advanced. I don't know. I mean, maybe not. That's a good question, Ken Wilson. You stumped me. But I would either say the spray coating or this coating right here, the 5 to 7. The thing about like your countertops is that they don't see the elements that your car sees. You know, it doesn't see, well, Ken Wilson doesn't see anything because he lives in a beautiful area in Southern California. By the way, Ken, I hope everyone you know is staying safe with those fires are insane.
Oh, yeah.
I just can't believe that. It's going through probably one of the nicest areas of LA, and Pacific Palisades up north there, and it's heading straight for Riviera Golf Course, which is one of the best golf courses in the world. But
That's how you get Joe to really.
yeah, it's really
care.
care, you know. But no, I think personally I would do the spray coating on a countertop, because even though it's not as thick as the other coatings, like, it's easier to apply. It's easier to not get high spots, and you know, really, you're not. I don't really use. I don't use any harsh chemicals on my countertops. I use our home surface cleaner, and so it's more like cleaning it, but it's going to make cleaning it a lot easier. So, yeah, I'd probably say the spray coating. I have used the 5 to 7 year, which is great. But I think if you, I would say this: if you don't have a lot of experience of ceramic coating, maybe you've done one car, you know. Oh my gosh. If you've done one car, but maybe you feel comfortable with it, then the 5 to 7 year is a great option. You know, if you don't feel comfortable with it, the spray coating. But I would say that for cars anyways. So while we were talking about ceramic coating countertops, I grabbed a bottle of Brilliant Glaze. This is also kind of like a cheat code for me when it comes to chrome and metal. I mean, I use this on a lot of different stuff: paint, chrome, glass. But just so you guys can see, I actually like to run this on the, like if I did the whole wheel, I would Brilliant Glaze everything. This is not a polish type of thing. And the reason why I like to use this on here is because it will enhance any imperfections that maybe we missed, but the solvent inside of it pulls up a lot of the black residue that was still on there. You can actually see some of it over here, but you can really see it inside of the applicator. So, you know, metal is kind of porous. And especially like brushed metal, there's like lines where stuff gets into. The solvent in Brilliant Glaze can actually help remove that. To be honest with you, how I learned this was in 2015. Adams Polishes made billet aluminum Christmas ornaments. They're like about, I don't know, 3 inches in diameter. And guess who polished every single one of them? I did, because I was new there, and I sat with a table. I had a huge stack of them. The guy who machined all of them was just right next door to our business. He would bring over a box, and I would sit there, and I would use this exact metal polishing thing, and I would sit there and I'd polish them, metal polish 1, metal polish 2, and then I would hit them with Brilliant Glaze, set them aside so it hazed over, which is what I'm waiting to do right now. And then I'd wipe them all down, and then we'd package them up, and they look amazing. I actually still have that ornament. It was up on my tree this year, but the Brilliant Glaze helps pull out some of that like leftover metal polish residue. And the reason why you want to let it haze over is the wax that's inside of Brilliant Glaze will actually like incorporate with the metal polish residue. So when you wipe it off, it takes it off a lot easier versus wiping it off too early, and then it's harder to get that off. So I think it
wants to know, like, do you ever Brilliant Glaze over ceramic coating for appearance purposes? And if so, do you then go over the glaze with your wax? So coating, glaze on it, or coating glaze?
That's a good question. Yeah, I probably would say the only time I would use Brilliant Glaze over a ceramic coated vehicle was like if I was at a car show. And actually on YouTube here, it's one of my favorite videos we did. Didn't get a lot of views, which I don't care. I'm not much of a view. I don't care how many views we get. I just more want to get information out there. But it was kind of like, I think the video was how to get your car ready for a car show, and then what do you do once you get there. And when it comes to car shows, there's some work you can do at home the night before you leave the next day. And you know, the things you do before is like you would take an air cannon and blow all the dust off of your car, but you don't waterless wash it, because if you want the excess dust off, but when you drive there, it's going to get dusty anyway. So just trying to get as much of the dust off without touching it, and then do a quick like interior with an interior detailer to like enhance the look. and then taking a edgeless utility towel and scrubbing the tires uh, with tire and rubber cleaner, or you just clean the wheels and tires, right? I think a lot of people just wash their car, but I'm talking about like minimal stuff to do in your garage. But then you drive to the car show, and when you get there, you waterless wash the whole car, and you leave all the waterless wash residue on there. You don't need to even it out. You just leave. You're just getting dust and dirt off of the car. Then Brilliant Glaze over the top of that, because it will fill in any imperfections and create this very uniform appearance of your paint. So if I had a ceramic coated vehicle and I went to a car show, you would see me out there doing Brilliant Glaze on the car, because it's going to make it more shiny than every other car that's there. And the solvent within Brilliant Glaze, which is what we're using to try to remove some of this metal polishing residue, also breaks down like any dried waterless wash that's on the car or anything, all the while filling in imperfections, making it look perfect. So that's it. But I would never wax on top of a ceramic coated vehicle. I would only use Brilliant Glaze as a appearance enhancement, nothing more than that. It doesn't protect anything, it doesn't do anything, but ceramic coatings are such a great form of protection on your car that you don't need to double up with the wax or anything like that. You know, if anything, you want to boost the ceramic coating with Graphene Boost or any of those maintenance products. But waxing for me, it's just, this might sound weird, but like, it's just too much work and time for me, especially like you're spending a couple hours doing that, maybe an hour. I'd rather wash the car and like enhance it with a maintenance product for ceramic coating. It's just easier. And the wax isn't doing any extra, I mean, it might protect it for a week, but that's it. And the wax is not going to adhere to the ceramic coating. So it's like, if you wash the car, it's gone instantly. So a Brilliant Glaze for like a car show or anything where you're putting your car on display, yes. But anything other than that on ceramic coating, it doesn't really matter, I don't think. So the way Brilliant Glaze works is it's mixed with the solvent, wax, and a tiny little abrasive. The solvent evaporates into the air, leaving the wax residue behind. You can see when I push my finger on it. Now I just take the towel and wipe it off. And for me, it's almost like a cleaner on top of metal polish a little bit. You can also use detail spray. You can even use, I mean, realistically, like if I was gonna ceramic coat these, I wouldn't use Brilliant Glaze. I'd use Surface Prep, which is like an alcohol wipe. That will help remove some of that metal polishing residue. But you know, if you're just wanting to make it look amazing without protecting it, you go Brilliant Glaze on top. So yeah. Any questions? You guys have any questions on metal polishing, or I would say just detailing stuff in general? We got a lot of good questions today, which I'm pumped for. But I don't even know what time it is.
2.
Oh, we're kind of right there. Usually, our live usually goes from 1 to 2, but because I talk so much, it usually goes to 2:30. So sorry.
Rodney says, "Am I applying the advanced coating too thick? I apply in 60-degree weather, and I'm not getting rainbow or sweat."
Oh, interesting. Yeah, probably. So Rodney asked that question. He said, "Am I applying the graphene ceramic coating too thick?" Because he puts it on and he doesn't see a rainbow or the sweat. You know, I think maybe a little bit too much. It's hard for me to say unless I like see when you're applying it. But you know, sometimes ceramic coating is very finicky across different ambient temperatures and environments and things like that. What I would tell you to do is like maybe start on your hood where it's like comfortable to stand, kind of like this. I mean, this car's on bags, so, you know, I'm not exactly a short person, but I'm not exactly a super tall person. But I would start here. And what I would do is I would put a certain amount of ceramic coating on the applicator, and then I would put it in like a square right here. And then I would maybe put a little bit more of the ceramic coating, and I would do it over here, and I would see which one gives me like the best visual for rainbow or the sweat, whatever. And then whichever one feels like the most normal, then that's how much I would put on the applicator. It's like doing a couple different test spots around your hood to get a sense of like how it's going to perform, you know. But I have noticed that like this is a problem with me, but I overuse our products. Like I use too much. I'd say like when it comes to spray, like detail spray and stuff like that, I don't overuse it. But ceramic coating, I overload my applicator. And there are times where I've done it and I've literally like waited 5-10 minutes and it just like still isn't quite. You know, you got to think about the more solvent that goes onto the car with the ceramic coating, the more that has to come out of it. So, you know, I would recommend doing like a test section first, but you know, ceramic coating is such a unique protection product. I mean, it's a microscopic layer above your paint or on your paint. So, and it's such a hard surface that like you don't need to overload it. You don't need to feel like you need to do 2 layers or 3 layers or put too much in your applicator. And what you're really trying to do is you want to use enough that you can use one little bottle to go around the whole car. So if you're using too much and you end up running out 3/4 of the way through, then you have to get another bottle. So, you know, I tend to say like when you put it on the applicator, like it's weird when you first tip it over, it doesn't come out right away. You give it like one shake and then it just like creates this flow and it starts coming out really fast. Just maybe go over or like up and down on your applicator and that's it. And then spread it out like nice and thin across. You can do a pretty big surface depending on, I think in your case, Rodney, with like 60-degree weather, you could do it on like half of the hood almost and then kind of wait and feel out the rainbow and then go after it. But yeah, you don't need to like overdo it, I don't think. And I would say too, like
He said it always like finishes looking nicely, and it's tacky when you're removing it. So.
oh, yeah, well, Rodney, in that case, if it finishes nicely and it's tacky when you're wiping it off, you know, the rainbow is just something to help you try to understand when to wipe it off. But if you're using like the touch method of how tacky it is and everything and it's working, especially when you go to wash it the next time and it beads water like crazy, you're doing it right. There's not, I think sometimes we create these rules of like, you wait for the rainbow and this and that. Sometimes it just doesn't work like that, and we understand that. So it sounds like Rodney's doing it perfect without having the visibility of the rainbow. But yeah, I think I wouldn't, if it's working, don't change a thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's like, I talk about that a lot in Adam's polishes. It's like, someone's like, oh, I love H2O Garden Gloss. Like, it just works so good on my car. And then they're like, you think I should switch to graphene boost? I'm like, why would you do that? If you love H2O Garden Gloss, like stick to it. It works for you, you know, but obviously it's fun to explore. But, you know, Rodney, if you're doing it and the results are what you want, I think you're doing it right, you know. Maybe I'll do a video. That seems like a cool video of like, you know, I don't know what the title would be, but like troubleshooting ceramic coating application. Like that's a good topic when Rodney's topic of, I don't see the rainbow and it's not sweating. Like, I don't know what to do. You know, I think that's a cool idea. But yeah, any other questions? If not, we can sign off and catch you guys next week.
David says, graphene boost, should you apply more than 2 sprays per panel, or do you want to apply?
Graphene boost, should you apply more than 2 sprays per panel, or what?
Should you apply it more sparingly?
Should you apply it more sparingly? Again, I think that product is like less is more. You know, I tend to use quite a bit less of that product. The reason why is the more that you use, the more that you spray on the car, the more your towel gets loaded up, the more it spreads it around the car and it gets streaky. So I try to use less, and actually I'll have at least 2 towels when I'm doing that process, 1 for each side of the car. Sometimes I'll even bump it up to like 3 or 4, depending on the weather. Like if it's a little bit cooler and the graphene boost isn't like leveling off or drying as fast, that means my towel, it's not, the water in it's not evaporating. So it's kind of moving it around. Then I'll use more like 4 towels, 2 for each side. But yeah, graphene boost should be like essentially that's like a hydrophobic enhancement, right? It's like something to like feed the ceramic coating to help keep it performing. And just so you guys, this weird science stuff, like ceramic coatings, if you look at it under a crazy microscope, almost look like, I wouldn't call it like a bed of nails, but like if you took the Rocky Mountains of Colorado and you put them all over your car, you would have these really tall peaks and you have these really low valleys. And yeah, like crystals, and the water molecules can't adhere to the top portion of that crystal, and they can't, or the ceramic coating, and they can't go in between the peaks. And so that's why the water beads up, because water is looking to grab onto things, even itself. That's why like you see a small water bead touch another small water bead, and they go boop, and they get nice and big, right? And then when they get bigger and bigger, then gravity pulls it off of the car. So what happens is these peaks and valleys, the top portion, when you're abrading it, starts to flatten out. So now instead of big peaks and low valleys, you have a plateau with a valley, right? So it's starting to flatten out, and the water now has a place to stretch out and grab onto. So then when you use boost, boom, it reinstates those big peaks and valleys, and now your ceramic coating is back to being crazy hydrophobic again. And so that's why like boost every few months is a really good idea, because it keeps it performing and keeps it working amazing. And so usually when I do the boosting process, I for sure will wash my car with like graphene shampoo. If it's in the winter, strip wash, because I want to get the salt off. Graphene shampoo is better at getting like the oil off. And then I will clay the car with like a clay mitt, that clay mitt right there, this guy. And I will clay the car, because this is like a really good maintenance clay type of product. So remove any bonding contamination, because ceramic coatings aren't bond and contamination phobic. They're hydrophobic. They're water, right? Resistant to water. And so if you get paint overspray or tree sap on top of your ceramic coating, that's not hydrophobic. So it gives water a place to grab onto and go. And so you want to get that off. Then when I pull it inside, I dry it, and then I just do like a quick, give it like, 1, 2, 3 sprays, all while moving my hand. A nice like thin layer of like spraying it on, like that. And then long, fast swipes with my towel to wipe it off. And just that little bit, will boost it and make it amazing. So yeah, I'd say like, less is more. When you overload it, your towel gets overloaded. It gets oversaturated, and now you just start moving product around. It gets streaky, and then you call us, and you're like, "Hey, this guy Joe told me to boost my car, and it looks terrible." So, so yeah, less is more. But yeah, is that good? All right. Well, thank you guys for watching today. I'm pretty happy with this result. I mean, I think when it comes to metal polishing, there's a lot of different surfaces you can use it on. I'll just tell you this. I get a lot of fingerprints on my stainless steel refrigerator, and metal polish too is my go-to to clean all that up and make it look amazing. So anything that's like raw metal, I use it on my golf clubs to enhance the appearance of them, but it works really good. So metal polish, even though it's underrated, the results you get from that process is ridiculously good. So, and another thing, like we don't carry like a metal polishing paste, which is way more aggressive. If you do get a metal polishing paste to do more work, you can do that first, follow it up with the 2-step metal polishing system here at Adams Polishes, and the results will be ridiculously amazing. So I hope today was at least interesting. I know it may not be helpful because not everybody does this, but I think one of my goals this year is to kind of go through the whole line and expose like maybe some underrated products or things that we don't necessarily use all the time, and just make you aware of it. There's other options out there, especially like when it comes to polishing metal. And a lot of you guys on here are professional detailers, so you never know what kind of car you're going to be getting in or you're going to inquire with. So having the right tools is always a good option. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm glad to be back. 2025, we're back. I'll see you guys next week on Wednesday, 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And again, depending on weather, we'll see what we can do. But I'm hoping to do like a winter washing type of thing again. It's going to be, might be a little bit redundant, but I think with some of the new product additions, we can actually do some cool stuff. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week.